angel that is either pulling this object or pushing it. Doesn't matter because
What proof?
no, but I don't want to go into
effects
that.
of God that you were
So what we're saying to you, and just rounding up, we haven't got any observable evidence that the Creator exists, but we have the reasons. We have reasons to believe that the Creator exists, and that is the Quran. The Quran, and this fine-tuning world that we have today, and you denied your own purpose. You even said some of your
I didn't deny my purpose, I said I don't have it.
no, but you denied your eyes' purposes and their functioning. You never. You resorted to evolution, but then I said to you, evolution cannot make sense because evolution cannot. It's a random things cannot make your eyes and so on and so on. It's irrational. And where did the first cell start off?
It started off, there are three theories. One of them is that it was transmitted in a comet, and the first living cells that came to Earth, like biotic materials, came in a comet. Another one is the primordial soup theory, that a whole bunch of different atoms in the Earth, when it was still really hot, combined to create biological molecules. And there's another theory.
So can we say, from a layman's point of view, it created itself? Or was it something, another powerful entity that created itself? It created itself.
What created itself?
The first cell.
How can something that didn't exist before?
How can God
Wait. He's asking a question.
No. When you say God, do you understand what what the term God means?
define it?
That's what I'm saying, because you use the term who created God or how did God exist?
Created us, whatever.
That is one of the purpose of God, yes. He creates, he's a creator, that's one of them. But that's not all what God is. God by definition is self-existing. He's the first cause, uncaused cause.
Yeah, but that's your definition.
Yeah, but
Your
that's what I'm asking you. When you use the term God, I want to know what's your definition.
That's what I gave you, the creator.
So it's just a creator. So just a creator. And you're going to stick with that definition.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say the creator, this creator, did someone create him or did he exist by himself?
It doesn't exist.
See what I mean? So that is your definition. He doesn't exist. You see what I mean?
No, I think it doesn't exist.
No, we need to be at the same.
talking about
We need to understand what terminology we're using, because you said it came from a comet, but the question
I'm talking about biological molecules.
I'm talking about the first cell.
Okay.
The first cell, even if it came from the comet, the question still remains: how did it come in the comet?
So there was a Big Bang, and all of the material in the universe, I believe 13.8 million years ago, expanded rapidly. And I know we had an argument about if random exists or not, but in my personal belief, it was distributed randomly.
No, but before you say a Big Bang, what do you understand by the Big Bang?
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I do understand the basics.
Where did it come from? Where did the Big Bang come from?
There was a small, I don't know, I guess like unit of molecules or whatever before.
Where did the molecules come from?
It
You
was
see,
just
the
in
origin.
open
Perfect question.
space.
You see, this is
It's a
one.
good
Because
question.
I'm not trying to like attack you or trying to demean you, but one thing you need to realize is science will not be able to answer the origin of things. It will tell you how things work.
Could be.
Yeah, it tells you how things work, but it is not there to answer the origin of things. So it can only speculate about, for example, the Big Bang. The Big Bang theory is one of the most well-known, recognized theories of the origin, sorry, not the origin, but how things somehow came from this singularity. I think that's the word you were looking for. So this singularity is how far they can stretch the imagination. Beyond that, they can speculate, but from here onwards, they have some proof from the radiations and so on that is in existence today. So that's why I'm saying this is how far science can go. Beyond that, it's a big black void.
So that means the divide between your belief and mine is
no,
that
but-
you believed before this
I haven't-
singularity expanded.
I haven't actually
There was a
told you about my belief
okay.
yet. I'm telling you how far science is prepared to go. So anyone who goes beyond the Big Bang, they are only speculating.
That's,
So even
Also, Big Bang is speculated.
yeah.
no. Big Bang is a theory, which is
Yeah,
you
theory
know
is speculation.
no.
Yeah.
It's,
Speculation with evidence.
no, a theory, how a theory works in science
I
is
know
not.
how a theory works.
My friend, I'm not saying you don't know what's a theory, but a theory is something that is accepted until you can show evidence to disprove it.
Just like God.
No, that's a different. You know what? Look. If you're going to use science to understand God, you're using the wrong tools.
Okay, he said the same thing. I'm not saying
Because
that God.
look, science doesn't deal in metaphysics.
Then why
that
are
is
you
beyond-
metaphysics and
There is no, I haven't used metaphysics yet.
Metaphysics is
You didn't give me the opportunity yet
Okay,
to
finish.
tell you about God. So I'm telling you still based on what you guys already believe in. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So what you believe in so far is a Big Bang theory, which is I think the most accepted theory about the universe that we know today and existed. But you see, there's two main handicaps for science: time and space. Without knowing time and space, you cannot even formulate a theory or perform any experiments or basically write any postulations with regards to that. Because these are the two things without this, they cannot do anything.
because we need something observable.
Exactly. And that's the reason they stop at the Big Bang. Because you see, before the Big Bang, they do not even know if time existed or any space existed. And that's the reason they can only go that far. Fortunately for people who are theists and believe in God, we don't have that limitation. So we ask a question which goes beyond that. And that is the reason he was asking you about the origin of the first cell. And I would ask you the origin of the universe. Where did this singularity come from? Where did matter come from? Where did energy come from? Where did these radiations in the universe come from? You see? That's all you'll say. I don't know. Which is fair, because you don't know,
They can't
and that's
prove it.
clearly being honest. There's nothing wrong with that. The question that I would then ask is to now use rationality and logic. We're not still discussing religion, yeah? Just using our minds. Can we
Now
understand?
you assume you're rational and logic,
Why would you not? Why would you think otherwise?
because the best scholars in the world don't think like you think. And they are,
So you're saying the best scholars don't use rationality and logic?
No, they do, and they deduct that there's probably no God.
So why do you think from what I discussed so far I will use rationality and logic?
So the difference
Because,
between
go on.
It's gone.
Yeah. So before you think this is irrational or illogical, I would like you to tell me why. But if you don't have an objection to what I'm saying, then I'll continue. But if you do, please let me know. You see, when I ask you, where did this first singularity or any matter or any form of energy come from? The best you can say is, I don't know. Fair enough, nothing wrong with that. But thinking logically, we know that nothing did not create it. Something must have created. So you got two options. Either something brought it into existence or nothing brought it into existence. We can easily discount the nothing because nothing cannot give rise to something. You agree?
That's your assumption.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think can nothing create or give rise to something?
Yes.
That's a wonderful. Can nothing create? Okay, give me an example. Right.
I can't give you an example.
So why are you saying yes then?
Why not?
Are you speculating?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't like speculations. I like logic and intellect. Like you said. So let's go by logic and intellect. Scientifically speaking, nothing. Can anyone tell me what nothing is? Does it exist? No, it's a concept. Nothing means the absence of everything. Yes? Absence of everything is nothing. Now, if we know that it doesn't even exist, then forget about it creating anything, even an atom, even a quark from within the atom. You see what I mean? Because it doesn't exist.
I say this assumption is wrong.
Well, you can prove me wrong then.
No? But you can't prove the other side either.
Are you telling me didn't you just say, I don't know, who said, you or you? Does nothing exist or doesn't exist?
Nothing does not exist here.
Anywhere. Does nothing
Oh, it
exist?
could, back in time, it could have existed. I don't know what
Okay, what is your
nothing
definition of nothingness? What's the definition of nothing?
Absence of matter.
Absence of matter only or everything?
Only matter.
So what consists of nothing then, other than matter? You said just matter. Can it consist of anything other than matter?
Such as?
I'm asking you, what does it consist of?
That's
So
my
you're saying it doesn't consist of matter, that's fine. Does it consist of energy?
That's related, so no.
Sorry, it's related to what?
Matter.
Okay, so you're saying energy and matter is not something that is inside nothing. So nothing doesn't consist of anything, is that right?
That's a very, very vague term.
How can it be vague? It's a very clear term. It consists of nothing at all.
Because you can't define nothing.
Ah.
You can't experience
Okay,
it.
does it exist?
I don't know, maybe.
This is what I'm saying. When you think of something that doesn't consist of matter or energy, how can it exist? In what form?
We don't know.
So don't use illogical terms then. The guy telling me not to use illogical terms is using illogical terms.
How is it logical to assume that some
Shall I tell you how it's
being
illogical?
created it?
If something doesn't have an essence of either matter or energy, what else can it be made of? There you go, that's illogical. See, scientifically speaking, nothing doesn't exist is a concept. means it doesn't consist of anything, it doesn't contain anything, it is nothing altogether. It is basically the absence of everything. To put it more precisely, it is the absence of everything that is nothing.
Also, do you know that there was nothing before the Big Bang?
Like I said, nothing doesn't exist, my friend. It's a concept to understand the absence of everything. Are you with me?
So the
I
way
don't know how
I
else
see
to
it
explain this to you.
is you've created an argument off of premises that we cannot prove or disprove.
No.
And the same thing that we have done is create an argument off of premises that we may or not be able to disprove. So
My
where we
argument-
vary is that the singularity, as you call it, could have either been created by a god, or there could have been nothing there, or whatever you believe, or it could have been created by something else, because we do not believe that it was created by a higher being, by a god. And we can't disprove us, and we can't disprove you, because we can't prove either of them.
I'll tell
So
you,
what
I'll
we
tell you
believe
why you are mistaken. First and foremost, I gave you the only two options possible.
No,
because-
there could have been another option.
That's fine. You can call it another. It still be called something.
Okay.
What was it? I gave you the two options. It's either created by something or nothing. We can easily discount nothing because nothing cannot give rise to something.
Okay.
Your
Okay?
claim.
Well, we have already dealt with this. You haven't given anything rational. So what I'm saying is nothing is the absence of everything. And if it doesn't even exist, then it cannot give rise to something, which is very clear, very logical.
Yes.
And
Now
if
tell
you-
us what you believe.
Well, you can dispute that, but so far you haven't given anything
Because
tangible.
it's impossible
And you can't dispute.
What's impossible?
to disprove it.
To disprove what? Nothing? It doesn't even exist. So what I'm saying is this. Do you not agree with that? Nothing doesn't exist. Do you agree? It either exists and it has some sort of energy, form, matter, essence. Or it doesn't exist and we don't have to worry about that.
Maybe it does exist. Maybe it did
Well,
exist.
tell me how it existed. Don't give me maybe,
How would
these
I
are
know?
speculations.
Of course, there's
So wait,
speculation.
why would I believe in a speculation which has no scientific basis, no intellectual basis, and
religion.
no rush? Oh, you believe in a religion?
No.
No, we believe that that's
No, I'm
what
asking-
religion is
listen,
as well.
I'm asking your opinion, not my opinion. So based on your opinion, does nothing exist or not? And if it does, you have to prove it to me substantially.
If
you
God
cannot,
exists, you have to prove it to me
I
substantially.
will. We'll come to God.
Yeah,
right
please
now,
do it. You were just talking.
right
Please do
now,
it.
I'm not talking God. That's why I said before we even deal with God,
Okay.
you are already disagreeing with me that nothing. I don't know whether this exists or doesn't exist.
Yeah. No
Okay, let
problem.
me ask your opinion. Do you think nothing exists?
I don't think it exists right now, but I think it used to exist.
Okay, why do you think it used to exist? Why do you think?
It's one of the many options.
No, why do you
Could have
think-
existed
look,
before the Big Bang.
When you have an option, when you have option A, B, and C,
Yeah.
you still need to substantiate it. Why do you think it existed at some point in time?
I'm not saying that it definitely existed. I'm just saying that it's a possibility that it existed, and we shouldn't discount it.
That is
before
the
we
reason I'm
disprove
asking.
it.
Why do you think there's a possibility it exists?
So please come to your argument. We've been talking
I will
here
come.
for-
You had a chance. Give her a chance. Have some respect. Why do you think it existed in the past?
I think that it didn't necessarily exist in the past, but I think it could have existed in the past. I'm not
So
saying,
you're not sure?
I'm not saying that there
Say,
was
I don't
nothing
know.
before. I'm just saying I don't know.
Look, we know that nothing is a concept. So when you think about nothing, it is not like it's something that appears or disappears. It is a concept. It's like infinity, for example.
Or like
do you think infinity exists?
Yes.
Infinity is a concept. It doesn't exist. It's a concept. It is for us to fathom something that is impossible otherwise without this terminology. So infinity and nothing are basically the two extremes. One is saying a lot of it and we don't know how much, and the other is saying not at all existing. See what I mean? So once you understand nothing, then it'll be easier to understand God perhaps. Let me ask your opinion as well. I don't want you to be left out.
I'm not that invested.
No, you know, the word nothing is not a very difficult word.
He's not getting me.
What do you think? Do you think it exists or it doesn't exist?
The word or
The
the
ter-
concept? Can
nothing.
you please get to your point?
I will. But look, in order for you to reach the understanding of God, you need to understand the basics. If you cannot even understand simple terminology like nothing, how can you understand the most high, the most vast entity out there? I can laugh it off, but so far we are laughing at you guys trying to explain nothing to me.
We're waiting for you to explain God.
You want to pause?
We've been standing here
You want to
for
pass?
30 minutes.
Okay, so anyway, I've given you the option something, nothing. Look, unless you show me evidence that nothing exists, I can say that is a no-go area now. So it's
Show
nothing.
me evidence that God exists.
I will.
This is
Okay.
moving on to
Now we
Yeah, but
move.
he doesn't do anything.
Now we move on to God. Okay. In terms of when I say God, I have a particular understanding of what God is. Obviously, I cannot understand God fully, but He has revealed to us certain characteristics from which we recognize this is God. When you think of God, obviously, I'm assuming you're agnostic or atheist. Can't make up your mind?
Agnostic. I
Agnostic.
don't care.
So there's a possibility God is there then.
There is a slight possibility.
That's good. You can work with that. Now, yeah, why not? If something is out there, and the only option we have that brought this existence into, the universe into existence is this something. To me, this something has to be the first cause, an uncaused cause.
What caused the cause?
It's an uncaused cause. I'll tell you why. Because you see, everything that begins to exist has a cause. This is a Cosmological Argument. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense.
Have you even? I didn't even finish it.
But obviously God was caused somehow.
I haven't finished yet. Calm down. Calm down. I'm coming to that. The Cosmological Argument postulates that anything that begins to exist has a cause. So you have a cause and an effect. The universe began to exist at some point, and we know this because the universe today is expanding. Yes? You believe that, right? Good. So the universe is expanding. At one point, they said it was a singularity, basically compressed into this singularity, and this expanded, bang, and this expanded, and it's still expanding. So we know from this that it did not always exist for eternity, as some people wrongly conclude. We know there was a beginning. So since it began to exist, then it must have a cause. What is that cause, you think?
There's no cause.
We can only speculate.
You claim.
Anything that begins to exist must have a cause.
No, you said your God doesn't have a cause, and He exists. You said
Why
uncaused.
God, by definition, is self-existing, uncaused cause.
You said uncaused cause. It doesn't make sense if you say everything has a cause.
God is not something like that. God is not something like the universe which doesn't have consciousness. God does have consciousness. Okay? So the universe, the matter in it, the energy in it, cannot think for itself, or cannot create itself, or cannot reproduce by itself. It has certain laws in it, the physical laws that you know of. These things are in there, but that doesn't mean that it can use it in a way which is using, for example, if there was a particular, let's say a ball is matter, yeah? It has matter, and if I want to strike it, the ball will not move by itself, sensing danger. So no one can say, scientifically speaking, or even from logical perspective, that the ball has some sort of intelligence in it. Yes. So we know that matter, energy, and the universe that we know of today, or the singularity back then, yes, is not something that is conscious that can give rise to itself. Okay. So it cannot create itself. It cannot be created from nothing. The only option is something, and this something has to be the cause of this universe, and this cause has to be not only intelligent and consciousness, has to be the uncaused cause and the most powerful, because there is no other alternative that if you can know and think of, let me know.
You contradict yourself by saying everything has a cause, but God doesn't have a cause because He's the uncaused.
You were not listening. No, I said everything that begins to exist have a cause.
But He has to begin existing.
No,
at
that's
some
why that's why your understanding of God lacks, because God doesn't begin to exist. He always exists. He's eternal.
It doesn't make sense. You claim that everything was created and has a cause.
I said everything that begins to exist.
Yeah, why was God there? How did He come into existence?
So you think everything should have a cause? Sorry, everything should have a creator. The reason you're asking me this question is because
you claim everything has a creator, but I say
no. I said everything that begins. I didn't say.
When did your creator get into existence?
I said everything that begins to exist. Did God begin to exist? If He's eternal?
Of course.
You don't know what eternal means then?
Maybe the universe is uncaused as well.
No, the universe, we know. I just explained that to you. The universe was a singularity which is expanding today.
Yes.
So it's not something that existed forever. It's not eternally existed. What I'm saying is that God, by definition of the term God, is not someone who began to exist. He was eternal, unlike the universe. He has consciousness, unlike the universe. See what I mean? So what I'm asking is, if God is the first uncaused cause, yes, and He's the only one who can create all these things, then there is no other alternative. We have had a few agnostic, and they will not even agree upon what the meaning of nothing is.
He's a fascist.
Oh, there comes the ad hominems. There comes the ad hominems. Okay, so basically we have certain agnostics. Let's go back. I don't want ad hominems to be here.
Means I submit, you accept me.
Yeah. So basically, we had a couple of agnostic who are basically trying to question about God. The thing is, they didn't know simple, basic things about the universe, about existence of the universe, how the universe came into existence, or even simple things like what is nothing and something. If they don't know these basics and they're trying to understand God Almighty, then I think they really have to study the basics, because to me, they really are unprepared when it comes to talking about God Almighty, and they're expecting somehow that science will explain to them in a way using scientific methodology. If it is something that they would understand, for example, the basics of the singularity, about the expansion of the universe, about simple things like something and nothing, then yes, we can talk about that. But if you're going to use examples like, oh, God doesn't exist because we can't see him, I mean, that is really not the kind of discussion you should be having. You're trying to use your own mind to understand what God should be, that you can clear. Some of us cannot even see the sun. I think most of us see the sun directly. Today is a very hot day, nearly 30 degrees in London. Not that I'm complaining, but alhamdulillah, it's a very hot day. And this sun is hot as well today. To see the sun directly is not something that is possible for us. How can they expect to see God Almighty, who is the creator of not only this sun, but suns millions of times bigger than this? So anyway, I mean, I think people try to have some sort of understanding of what God is from when they're coming from an agnostic, theistic, atheistic perspective. They think that it has to be within the limits of their limited being that they can see God, and then they'll believe. Otherwise they won't believe. I think this is crazy, because there are certain things which are beyond the scope of science, and God Almighty is something, and for example the heavens and the angels, all these metaphysical perspectives is something that is beyond the scope of science. So they have this set mind that it is as if discovering something on earth is the same principle that they would be using in discovering God. I think they have to use certain understanding in terms of both intellect, logic, and by deduction. So like I told them that what created the universe? How did it come into existence? So they could reach a certain point, like scientists, up to the singularity, up to the Big Bang and so on. But beyond that, it's a whole void for them. This is something that goes beyond the scope of science even. And this is not something that they can understand easily or explain easily, because this is beyond science, it's metaphysics. And you're using the wrong tools, i.e. science, to understand it. Yes, we can use logic, intellect to deduce and understand that there is a higher being out there who has brought all this into existence. So we see a lot of lot of systems within the universe itself. And these systems and these laws are something that we understand from science. So science is able to explain to us how these things how these things work, how the universe works. But they cannot explain easily the origin of the universe or the origin of the first cell. Because one of them told me that it came from the meteor. But the question still stands. How did it get to the meteor? So we have to then use our minds by using intellect. And of course, you can use the understanding that you have as human beings, because we have been given intellect, to understand that these things cannot just come and originate themselves. So they cannot come from nothing. They cannot create themselves. They have to come from a higher being. And this higher being is what we call God Almighty. And if there is an alternate explanation to how the universe came into being, then please do let us know. Jazak Allah Khair. Assalamu alaikum.